Are you looking for actionable insights from the world's most inspiring individuals? The Built by Love podcast is on a mission to transform your life, your business, and your health. Tune in for impactful conversations with people who do business differently. Avoid burnout, acquire freedom, and live life fully on your own terms. With me, Pete Daly-Dickson, alongside Daniel Bussius. Infusing love throughout your business is easy when you're in startup mode. But what about when you switch into scale-up mode? Well, on this episode, Daniel and I discuss how to maintain love as you scale, and whether Michael Gerber's E-Myth can help you. It's such a common scenario. You interact with a business and it's a founder-run, founder-managed business. It's just a small team and you get this great experience. And then the business grows and there's an element and aspects of hierarchy and bureaucracy and stuff that start to seep in and erode away these magnetic connections and experiences that we have with businesses that we love. So yes, I think you're right. The point about focusing on love and building by love is making sure that those connections which exist at the inception of a business stay and grow and flourish as the business grows and flourishes. It's not a zero-sum game. You know, the more focus you put on love, the more there is. Love is such a magnetic force. I'm on a couple of email newsletters, as I'm sure the listener is, and you two are as well. And there's one of them in particular. She signs off every email with "Love you so much" or "Love." It's just, and it's because it's how she is. It's who she is and how she shows up. And it's not a function of male, female, or whatever gender you identify with. It's just love. And it's hugely attractive and hugely loved and appreciated, I guess, is in there as well.
I think the vision of the founder is incredibly important. You know, Steve Jobs had a really interesting thing, and it's not showcased very much out there, but you can find it online, YouTube, and other places, where Steve Jobs talks about one of the main driving factors that helped him with his team and development of his team is that he realized that focusing on today of fixing this issue with the employee, whether it's how they're doing something or how to improve something, wasn't going to get them the results in the future. And so focusing on the future and knowing that some of those things for the right team members, to develop them for 10 years, not for today or tomorrow, but develop them for 10 years is going to ultimately get them to where they want to go, where his vision of what the company is going to be. And so by him, and this is a really interesting, if you listen to him, and he says it so much more succinctly, but that managerial thing of, I'm not going to change all of this right now because you're just doing it wrong and this just needs to be fixed now, rather than you're going to be a valuable team member and we're growing for the next 10 years. And so I'm going to be patient and there's going to be things we're going to do to make sure we get to that destination. I think there's a parable, right, where it says, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, you feed him for life. And it's really that kind of mindset. And I believe it starts with the founder.
I left drama school over 30 years ago. And one of the jobs I had, one of the early jobs I had as an actor was a theatre in education job, TIE, they call it. And we had a play. It was about recycling, and we had a transit van. And the set was in it, and we would travel around the UK, and we would go to schools, and we would set up in the hall or the biggest classroom, and away we go. And it didn't take me, in fact, there's me and two other actors in it. It didn't take us very long to realize and to figure out what the principal, that either the headmaster or the headmistress, would be like before we met them. And it was astounding how quickly that implicit knowledge was, we got that almost from stepping over the threshold of the school. There was just this, I don't know how to describe it, once we'd been to like 5 or 6 schools, you walk into a school and it's just like, I bet I know what the principal is going to be like, and sure enough, it was the case. And there's a saying, isn't it, that the fish rots from the head. That it starts and ends with the founder, which is why this podcast is for founders, or for people that they've got something in them that is drawing them towards this crazy life of entrepreneurship. But yeah, it's fundamentally about the founder, their vision of the world, and their sense of the importance of connection and love at the end of the day.
Okay, so you own a company, you have a team, and if your guiding principle is, I want to make sure that I love the way I look, I feel, right? So your health and your wellness, your mindset. I have a fulfilling relationships in a personal life, right? And I'm really excited and invigorated by what my company's doing and the people I have on board. If you're focused on those things, then as a leader, that is going to naturally come out. And because if you're focused on love, then when you talk with your team, and I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody, but in my agency, after decades of running the company, I recognized that trying to drive people with financial bonuses wasn't the thing that really excited them. It was experiences. And so if the company hits this milestone, then we're all going to go to Tulum and we're going to have a week of just self-development. It's not going to be about how to make the company better. We're just going to hang out. And we're going to do things that are going to set our own personal goals in our life. And if that includes you leaving the agency, then so be it. If you're focused on the things that build love for you in your life, then that is going to transcend the culture, and it's going to transcend into the people that you hire and you manage and that you communicate with. And if they really love what they're doing, then it's already been statistically proven that they're going to exude that to your clients and customers. And that's intangible. And so that's what I would argue is you have to start with you. Because once you have those guiding principles and once you have that as your navigational beacon of how you're going to go forward in everything that you do, you're going to be able to guide and manage and mentor those that help to make that reality for you in your business. And you're going to impact a significant amount of people across your organization and then your customers as well. I think Michael Gerber's E-Myth is an incredible book for people that catch themselves going through the motions rather than stepping out and looking at the big picture. It's failing to see the forest for the trees is really what the book is, right? And it's a great book. The intent and the focus, in my humble opinion, of that book isn't to solve your happiness and your journey in life and the impact that your company and the legacy that you're going to leave is. That's not the purpose of the book. The book is to help you focus on what's important to drive the business forward. So you're working on the business and not in the business, which is the famous like quote that comes from the book, right? And I would say if you're aware of that, then you've likely already broken past $1 million in revenue. Maybe not for some, but for most, you've already overcome that. And I'm not diminishing the book's quality or audience by any means. It's a valuable business book, but you solve that problem before you hit $1 million, usually. And then the problem becomes as your staff grows, your payroll grows, all of the problems expand. And the smaller problems kind of fade away because you've solved for those. And now you don't have less problems. You just have new problems, different problems. At some point in time, it eats up so much of your time that you need to kind of step back and figure out, like, I'm through the survival mode and I'm into scale mode. It's a different mindset. It's a different place to be in. And that also requires some inflection points to say, okay, really, what are we doing? Why we're here, what we're doing is still the same reason. Are the people that we're hiring and bringing in and all of the experiences across the customers and so forth, is that still driving to the same direction? Or did somehow we kind of lose our way? Because usually as you start to bring in new people, if you're not focused on that, then those new people are focused on like growth and revenue and numbers, right? And you can get those. but you may not build that loyal tribe of people that are going to follow you to the ends of the earth, that are going to keep your company relevant and profitable and out of the doldrums of features and benefits and price cuts and, things like that, in my opinion.
Although the word love isn't explicitly stated inside the E-Myth, again, I echo what Daniel was saying, a great book, is if you think and remember about, is it Sarah or Susan, the owner of the pie shop that is used as the parable throughout the story, is she is passionate about pies. She just loves the work that she's doing. And the audience that the E-Myth is written to is the technician. It's the person that does love what they do and knows that they are really good at what they do and thinks that they can create a business out of it. When they do that, because they're not the manager and the visionary, it's the love that they have for what they're doing is one of the first things to get squashed. And I would argue that the whole purpose of doing what the E-Myth teaches is to recapture that love and to be able to do it at scale. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Built by Love podcast. If you found the conversation inspiring or helpful in any way, then head to builtbylove.com/podcast and make sure you're subscribed to our email list. Please also take a few minutes to leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts, and share this episode with a friend that you think it might help. Each review helps us to spread the message of love to more people. See you next time on the Built by Love podcast.